When I started to think about artificial intelligence and artistic intelligence, it took me quite a while as a documentary filmmaker to really understand an algorithm. And then I was asking myself, where are algorithms probably not good for the next 50 years? And then I came up with this idea, with this terminology of artistic and artificial intelligence. So I researched the web. And the first guys I found are you guys. When you Google artificial and artistic intelligence, you end up with Florian, Dohmann and Roman Lipski. So the floor is yours.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. That was a quick introduction. 1 second.
Too quick to find the files.
Okay, that should work now. Let me see. Yeah, Roman, we have the time also. Okay. So I want to talk now about, together with Roman Lipski, about our project called Unfinished, Birth of an Artificial Muse. And we are going to talk about the last, over last 2 years, when we created this so-called artificial muse or digital muse, or in general, I mean, a new kind of muse. And I want to start with a brief video that explains mostly everything. Oh, 1 second. I think I have to use the external sound thing. 1 second.
Surrounded by trees. A house in the distance. The horizon. The road ends behind a hill. One moment in time. How many ways can we perceive this image? How many times can we paint it? How often can we be inspired by it? Enough for a lifetime. This is Unfinished. Roman Lipski and YQP present the birth of an artificial muse, a machine in search of diversity, inspiration, and transformation. The first true partnership between a painter and artificial intelligence. A neural network was injected with 9 paintings by Lipski. The machine analyzed different facets of the paintings and adapted Lipski's style. With time, the system learned to generate an infinite amount of unique images. These images supplied Lipski with new compositions, perspectives, and themes. For over 2 years, every new painting by Lipski has been re-ingested into the system, creating an ongoing exchange between man and machine. Like a creative mirror, the AI reveals facets of his art that he had never seen before. With help from the digital muse, Lipski has transformed his artistic language and constantly finds new ways to express himself. Just as the invention of the camera helped painters to explore new perspectives, AI could ultimately introduce a new art with endless possibilities. And this is just the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. The beginning also of our small talk about this project. Let's wait for maybe a few seconds more. You can check this domain, by the way. Not here, I think the connection is not that good. But if you have Wi-Fi or later maybe better connection, then check it, and there you can find images created by the Muse. So how did all that start? We had the question, which role artificial intelligence, or applied artificial intelligence, let's call it machine learning, can play in the field of art, or in general in the field of being creative. And when we started with that, yeah, I don't know, 2-3 years ago, when we had our first discussions, there new papers arose. New papers from the machine learning field with new approaches that we can use to generate images. And we started with research on the one side, but also with a lot of talking. So the whole thing started that Roman Lipski and me, we met each other during that time by incident, and we started to talk. And we simply started to talk, coming from different perspectives with a different background. I do, on the one side, conceptual art, but also from a background, I'm a technologist, having a company in the field of artificial intelligence, and Roman Lipski is a painter doing that for centuries. And the coincidence was that both of us live in the same neighborhood in Berlin, in Schöneberg. So we had enough time to talk. And what we found out following this question very soon is that we need to create something that is not replacing the creative process, but to create something that helps to enhance the creative process. So it's more about working together, creating a collaboration. You can say a co-evolution, more like a ping pong between Roman Lipski and the artificial muse. And how that in general works, or very briefly a description, no tech talk today, but a small introduction into how all that works. We started with a pre-trained neural network that is able to analyze the paintings, as it was said also in the video. So it can extract different features like the composition or the brush stroke, the colors, contrast, and many other features where we honestly do not fully understand which features these are, because as it was mentioned also during different talks, and I think we'll discuss about that a lot when we talk about AI, not always we fully understand how the networks work. So it was in the latest discussion, it was talked about white boxing and explainability of AI, and of course here also using these networks, it's not fully explainable, the inner part of these networks. So the system is able to extract all these features. So how it then works is the images are fed into this network. The network is able to extract different patterns. This is now the very simple version of explanation. And the Muse is, I would say, a kind of very clever kaleidoscope. So a kaleidoscope that allows us, or allows Roman Lipski, to have new perspectives on his own paintings and getting inspired by it, finding new colors, for example, that he did not think about before, or new structures, but always in combination with the image that he is creating. So not any influence or any inspiration, but an inspiration that is highly related to his own work. And where we are now working on, and what one of the next things is, so now and next, is that we work on new generative approaches. So there are many different new architectures of neural networks, of mathematical models in general, that now pop up and where many researchers work on, which is very fancy. So we also are using different GAN, it was dropped before, also generative adversarial networks, architectures shaping the Zwischenintelligenzen, so more like the in-between. And I think this is very interesting. So what happens between the human intelligence and the artificial intelligence? Also a new kind of soft skills arise. I would say that not every one of us is at the moment able or willing to work with an artificial intelligence as Roman Lipski is doing it. That's why I'm also wearing my High Inside shirt, my human intelligence inside shirt. I think it's very interesting also now when we are talking so much about artificial intelligence, the questions that arise are also very interesting when we answer it, or when we bring it to the human intelligence world. So this new discussion about artificial intelligence can also be applied on the other side, on human intelligence. Yeah, following the motto ganz oder gar nicht. And we also started to think about what would happen if we use different data like text, links, video, or any kind of data, and again use this very clever kaleidoscope to bring new perspectives, inspiration, and also new challenges to creatives in general, not using that only for a painter, but applying what we learned and using the technology and the methods and all the knowledge that arose during the last years for other fields where we can use it. So we very early started to say eine Muse für alle, a muse for all. And we follow that now. So we are actively working on new applications where we can use a similar kind of software development, like also in the economic fields. And of course, there are other examples. And today in the morning also we heard nice examples. A lot of stuff arises, which is very interesting. But I think the approach from the first beginning on working on a muse and not something that is replacing the creative work is a totally different approach. How to develop software, how to think about AI, and how to build applied machine learning systems in general. That's why we also decided not to call it creative AI, because for me, and that is what I think of when I hear creative AI, it's about new art and new works in general. So something that the human created before is now the system creating. We started to call it inspirational AI. It's just a wording thing, but words are often very strong. It implies that it's about more creating, sounds very strong, new artists or creative workers in general. So using AI to help in the creative process, which is super interesting and keeps the human in the loop. And I now want to hand over to Roman.